More than $14 million worth of cocaine intercepted on the turnpike in Palm Beach County.
Teamwork between local, state, and federal agencies was able to lead to nearly $15 million in cocaine.
During the inspection, inspectors found this.
Federal and state authorities have carried out one of the largest highway narcotics seizures in Florida's recent history, stopping a $17.3 million seizure cocaine shipment linked to an international drug trafficking network. The operation, led by the Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, in coordination with the Florida Highway Patrol, FHP, unfolded earlier this month on Florida's Turnpike, a major commercial corridor connecting Miami to the southeastern United States. Acting on federal intelligence gathered by the DEA's West Palm Beach field office, agents identified a semi-truck believed to be transporting bulk narcotics from the Texas-Mexico border towards South Florida. Officials say the takedown, codenamed Operation Sun Turnpike, represents a decisive win in the ongoing fight against cartel-controlled distribution routes operating deep inside U.S. territory. According to investigators, the DEA first began monitoring the transport company after multiple long-haul shipments raised suspicion through inconsistent manifests and irregular cargo declarations. Agents traced financial transactions tied to the firm to shell companies in Nuevo Leon and Tamaulipas, Mexico, regions long associated with Gulf Cartel and Cartel del Noreste logistics cells. The DEA alerted the Florida Highway Patrol's Criminal Interdiction Unit, CIU, deploying troopers along the turnpike and I-95 corridor to locate the suspect vehicle. Using real-time license plate tracking and satellite monitoring from federal aviation assets, task force members established positive identification of the target, a white Kenworth tractor-trailer hauling what appeared to be a refrigerated load of produce. On October 5, 2025, FHP troopers initiated a lawful traffic stop near the St. Lucie County line after observing erratic lane changes and speed inconsistencies typical of diversion tactics used by cartel transporters. The driver and passenger presented Mexican identification and partial bills of lading that failed authenticity checks. When troopers inspected the trailer, they noticed fresh weld marks and reinforced undercarriage plates inconsistent with standard design.
Each day, our men and women in law enforcement agencies are actively disrupting criminal networks, traffic dangerous narcotics into our communities.
A K-9 narcotics unit was deployed, and within seconds, the dog alerted to the trailer's lower compartment. Troopers then called DEA agents to the scene to conduct a full-scale search under federal warrant authority. The investigation that began as a traffic violation quickly escalated into a major narcotics seizure operation that would expose the presence of a cartel-level transport chain running straight through Florida's highways. When agents breached the trailer's undercarriage, they discovered a false metal chamber welded beneath the floor. Inside were multiple duffel bags tightly packed with rectangular bricks wrapped in industrial tape and greased with Axle lubricant, a common method used to evade canine detection. Field tests confirmed the substance to be high-purity cocaine, matching chemical markers consistent with previous seizures tied to northern Mexican laboratories. The total weight, 173 kilograms, equivalent to more than 380 pounds of narcotics, with an estimated street value exceeding $17 million. The truck's 2 occupants were immediately detained without incident and transferred into DEA custody for interrogation. Nearby traffic was halted for nearly 2 hours as law enforcement secured the area and documented evidence under hazardous material protocols. Federal sources later confirmed that the intercepted load was part of a larger multi-state pipeline, moving drugs from the border to Florida distribution hubs disguised as agricultural freight. The seizure underscored what officials described as a major operational success and a warning shot to traffickers using Florida highways. DEA Special Agent in Charge Maria Delgado said the raid demonstrated the value of real-time intelligence and seamless communication between federal and state units. In her words, this was precision policing, intelligence-led enforcement that prevented deadly drugs from entering our communities. One truck may seem small, but it represents the collapse of an entire corridor of cartel logistics. The full scope of the discovery stunned even veteran narcotics officers. Inside the truck's concealed compartment, agents recovered 173 kilograms of cocaine arranged in color-coded packaging, red for wholesale buyers, blue for regional distributors, and yellow for street conversion. According to the DEA's forensic lab in Miami, each brick contained high-purity cartel-grade cocaine consistent with shipments produced in Sinaloa and Tamaulipas, Mexico. Investigators say the bricks were sealed in wax and coated with motor oil to mask scent detection, a sophisticated tactic known in trafficking circles as double seal compression. Each bag was stamped with a coded emblem, a small jaguar head, believed to identify the batch as property of a Gulf Cartel distribution cell operating out of Reynosa, a border city known for funneling narcotics into Texas and Florida. The DEA confirmed that similar markings were found in previous seizures from Houston and Laredo, strengthening evidence of a continuous supply chain. The two men arrested at the scene were identified as Carlos Mendez, 34, and Luis Toro Valdez, 29, both Mexican nationals. Federal background checks revealed that Mendez had been previously deported from the United States in 2018 for narcotics trafficking and had re-entered illegally under a forged Guatemalan passport. Valdez, according to Homeland Security, had prior connections to a trucking company under investigation for cross-border smuggling of weapons and cash. Both suspects were charged with conspiracy to distribute narcotics, trafficking of controlled substances, and illegal re-entry after removal, charges that carry potential life sentences under federal law. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Miami confirmed that ICE has lodged immigration detainers and is pursuing enhanced penalties under federal anti-cartel statutes, citing the defendants' role in a transnational network. Officials said both suspects are being held without bond at a federal detention facility in Palm Beach County pending indictment. Federal authorities emphasized that this seizure is not an isolated event, but part of an evolving pattern of long-haul cartel logistics designed to move high-value shipments through America's interior highways. The DEA's Sun Turnpike Task Force, formed earlier this year, combines intelligence from multiple agencies, including Homeland Security Investigations, HSI, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, FDLE, the FBI's Miami Field Office, and the Florida Highway Patrol, to monitor commercial routes for irregular cargo. Agents credit the operation's success to real-time satellite data and license plate analytics shared between local and federal systems, allowing troopers to intercept the suspect vehicle before it reached the Miami metropolitan area. We're integrating technology, intelligence, and field readiness in a way that prevents disasters before they happen. This truck was essentially a moving warehouse of poison, and it never made it to its destination. Following the arrests, Florida officials moved swiftly to publicize the operation's success as proof that coordinated enforcement can outpace cartel infiltration. Lieutenant Governor Jay Collins issued a strong statement praising the partnership between the DEA and state law enforcement. Under Governor DeSantis's leadership, Florida remains a national model for law and order. This operation shows what happens when we combine intelligence, speed, and teamwork. We stop deadly drugs before they reach our children. Our message to traffickers is simple. Do not bring your poison into Florida. We will find you, we will arrest you, and we will dismantle your operation piece by piece. Federal leadership echoed the sentiment. DEA director said the operation reflected precise coordination between federal command and highway enforcement, while emphasizing that traffickers are rapidly adapting to tighter southern border restrictions by relying on high-volume trucking corridors. Cartels may think they can outrun border checkpoints, but we are now meeting them where they hide, on America's highways, inside legitimate commerce, and beneath ordinary cargo. Officials added that the intelligence gathered from this raid, including phone records, bank transactions, and GPS data recovered from the truck's black box, will guide follow-up raids in Texas, Louisiana, and Alabama, where additional drivers and dispatchers are under surveillance. The DEA confirmed that the seizure disrupted what they described as a key artery in the Gulf Cartel's East Coast expansion plan, a route that had already moved more than $200 million in drugs through Florida in the last 3 years. Agents called it a tactical victory with strategic value, proving that every interception delivers not just narcotics, but crucial intelligence that weakens the networks behind them. In Washington and Tallahassee, Federal and state leaders are now calling the Florida Turnpike seizure a turning point in the nationwide campaign to cripple cartel infrastructure inside the United States. According to Homeland Security briefings, the cocaine recovered from this single semi-truck represented just one node in a much larger pipeline stretching from Matamoros, Mexico, through Texas logistics hubs, and finally into Florida's growing urban distribution markets. Analysts estimate that each truckload generates up to $10 million in wholesale profit for cartel networks, which use American highways as silent smuggling lanes disguised as legitimate trade. But this time, the network failed. What makes this case different, said one senior DEA operations chief, is how many moving parts worked perfectly. Intelligence tracked the load, Florida Highway Patrol executed the stop, and DEA immediately took down the logistics. That kind of coordination is how you win. Agents confirm that follow-up raids in Orlando, Tampa, and Fort Lauderdale have already yielded 4 additional arrests, each connected to the same distribution web uncovered by Operation Sun Turnpike. From the enforcement perspective, officials say the success proves Florida's interdiction infrastructure is working exactly as designed. Since 2019, the Florida Highway Patrol has seized over 14,000 kilograms of illegal narcotics, including nearly 1,000 kilograms of cocaine, 23 kilograms of fentanyl, and more than 9,000 kilograms of marijuana, quantities that collectively prevented thousands of overdoses statewide. Officials credit ongoing investments in training, drone surveillance, and license plate analytics for allowing field units to identify trafficking behavior even when it hides behind legitimate freight. These aren't random busts, said Colonel Gary Howes. They are the result of pattern recognition, the subtle details that tell us when a truck isn't carrying fruit, it's carrying death. The DEA emphasized that Florida's interstate corridors have become a primary battlefield in the fight against transnational cartels as traffickers attempt to move deeper into the American interior to avoid coastal inspections. As a result, both DEA and Homeland Security Investigations (HSI) have expanded forward deployment offices in the Miami, Jacksonville, and Tallahassee regions to ensure rapid mobilization. Financial analysts from the Department of Justice's Asset Forfeiture Division estimate the seizure will ultimately strip the cartel of over $50 million in long-term profit when factoring in the downstream disruption to street-level distribution. Agents seized the truck, communication devices, GPS trackers, and banking ledgers found in hidden compartments, all of which are being examined for links to Mexican cartel financiers and U.S.-based front companies. The DEA confirmed that at least 3 shell corporations registered in Florida were funneling payments through digital wallets and unregulated cryptocurrency exchanges, a method increasingly favored by traffickers to bypass traditional banking systems. Those financial trails, officials say, will guide future joint operations targeting money laundering hubs in Texas, California, and Nevada, all connected by encrypted transfers. State and federal leadership framed the success as both a defensive and moral victory. This is proof that Florida does not wait for Washington to act, said Lieutenant Governor Jay Collins, speaking during a press conference outside the DEA's Miami field office. Every brick of cocaine we seize is a family saved, a life spared, and a message to every trafficker on this continent. We will not tolerate your business here. DEA administrator echoed the message from Washington, confirming that federal task forces are now prioritizing coastal to interior supply chain interdictions, combining maritime, aerial, and ground operations under a unified digital command. The effort, she said, represents the new face of Homeland Narcotics defense, one that no longer stops at ports but tracks every link of the chain, from cartel labs overseas to the trucks crossing Florida's highways. As of this week, federal sources confirmed that the intelligence collected from Operation Sun Turnpike has already triggered 5 new warrants in Texas, Louisiana, and Arizona, as agents move to dismantle the regional command structure responsible for shipping narcotics into the Eastern Corridor. Homeland Security officials say the broader operation is far from over. It is only expanding. Every kilo stopped on the highway, one field agent said, is another life we just saved, and another cartel accountant who just lost his bonus. In Florida, the turnpike where the truck was stopped has returned to normal traffic. But behind the scenes, the data, fingerprints, and tracking devices recovered that day are still telling their story. One shipment, one corridor, one battle in a larger war that continues quietly across America's roads.